This conference will now be recorded.
What? All right. I call it regular second and city commission order. 10, roll call, please.
Mayor Roberts,
I'm here.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
The minutes will show that Commissioner Bolt is not present.
For joining us, Rick. Father God, we just thank you for this day you've given us. Father, we just ask that we have your presence in here tonight to hopefully impart wisdom and common sense and just a good sense of well-being, so we can make decisions that affect our community in a positive way that reflects in your will. Father God, we just ask you to be with us tonight, help us wander through all of this for us, and just keep us on the right path so that the vision and the goal that you place before us we can achieve. We just ask you to be with each one here tonight and those that are listening in. Keep us safe tonight as we travel from here to our homes. Give us a good night's rest so that we can be ready to start again tomorrow with another journey through this wonderful community we have. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. So join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the Union of Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among the United Cultures. You may be seated.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with 3 removals or changes. And the non-action items, we'd like to remove the discussion of the paramedical program agreement with Norley and Lovington Fire Department EMS. We'd like to remove that. And the action items, we'd like to remove resolution 2024-017 variance request for 507 West Avenue G, carport size and setback. And we'd also like to remove resolution 2024-027, appoint new mayor pro tem.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Shannon, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes. Mr. Mayor, make a motion for consideration of minutes, March 11th, 2024. Second.
Motion and second on consideration of the adoption of the minutes. Any further discussions, corrections, additions? Hearing none. Shannon, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Okay. So you're still not there.
Right, so we.
Well,
I think that would be great.
we still have to.
Yeah.
We got one? Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Let's bring this to our commissioner and staff report. And Shannon, you have something to see?
Mayor Commissioners, I have nothing to report right now.
Okay.
Say that again?
I have nothing to report right now. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Guest?
Nothing to report.
You say that again, please?
There is nothing to report. Everything's going super great.
Time wasters.
Yeah, right, yeah. Hey,
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, our activity for March 11th through the 25th, calls of service with 706 calls for service, 8 alarm calls, 14 crashes, 136 traffic stops, 49 citations, 22 arrests. Code enforcement gave 45 warning citations for grass or other property needs. Also five citations for mobile home. Bless you. And 8 citations for illegally parked vehicles or semi trucks. We hired a new officer, George Collin, and we have 1 certified officer interview on Thursday. Have any questions?
okay, questions, commissioners? All right, so, well, I have a question that's not related to your report, but coming in yesterday, I know the city of Lovington really wasn't involved, but what was the situation with the tank? Did it blow there or did it come off?
It blew there.
Kind of what it looked like. I was assuming,
That big truck was just there to prevent
keep
it.
it from going across the road, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
oh, wow. That-
I seen the video after, I was like, wow, I didn't realize that happened, but yeah, that was a big tank.
that was a big thing. Was it connect, do you know anything about it, other than it blew there?
The officer just rolled up on it with it on the side of the road. I mean, it's a truck like y'all's,
Yeah, it's a big can, another 500 barrel tank, but it wasn't connected because the door wasn't on the back of it.
Oh, but for it to be-
Fiberglass?
No, it's still,
It was rolling.
we need a video of that.
So you do it.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Work for you. Yeah, no, they did it, so I can make the other whole section rolled out.
I know my owner of the tank.
That would be the hard part, trying to figure out what that. Just, I was gonna make all the empty locations that had a tank laying on its side, you know, they just laid it over, left it there, but we'll come back to that.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
That's what I said.
That was after I was coming to Bob's, when I came upon it, and the container, the guy that sells the overseas containers, his second one had blown out. It was a nasty day. If you do. All right. Well, thanks, Chief, appreciate it. Fire Chief.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, so Zia Plumbing has gotten the new hot water heater into the station finally. They will come back tomorrow to replace the circulation pump, but other than that, we don't have hot water.
And always a plus.
Yeah, it's been, what, a little over 2 months since we've had hot water in that station. It's been a while. The EMS billing, RFP review board met on last Thursday, the 21st. We had 2 companies that responded to the RFPs, and I will discuss more on that when we get to the action items. And I'm still waiting on quotes for abating the mold in the station 1. So for right now, my people are still at the second station. Other than that, that's all. Was that for any questions?
All right, questions? Government's not helping.
I know.
We're laughing because although most of our audience this evening has to do with Mr. Owen, we're trying to allow the judge long enough to get here. So we're just stalling a little bit until he can get to come effectively for me swearing in our new judge. So anyway, that's what this is.
I would like to say the delay on your
That's not.
water heater would not be due to the
No.
grant area, because that was done very
It
quickly.
was just the allocating of the monies from the state.
No.
No.
The allocating of the money wasn't, because I looked at that bid that you had, it was dated 2/27. I put it in on the 4th, which was the following Monday, and we got it last week, which actually was quite fast for DFA. So it was just a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. So just
We'll just blame it on the plumber.
just making sure,
I gave the bid when I got the bid, so.
yeah. I'm just saying,
This, yeah, it actually went fairly quick compared to a lot of stuff.
They put a rush.
That's
Oh, Commissioner Camille.
Wait,
Oh,
can we go through Mr. Bolt now? We'll speak in place of him. Because we'll need audience participation.
okay, wait a minute.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you need a hat?
Commissioner Holt.
I know most of you aren't regulars here and some are leaving. So we're really stalling a lot. So I need audience participation because Commissioner Bolt says 3 things. Do you know what those 3 things are?
Shop local, and eat local, and buy
So
gas.
we're gonna say shop local, eat local, bank local, right? And we're going on 3, each one of you and I is gonna say shop local, eat local, bank local, okay? Audience participation, because this is what Ms. Bolt is all about, okay? So on 3, we're gonna say that. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Shop local, eat local, bank local.
Good job.
What you could have asked about the railroad crossing.
No,
Okay, now, Commissioner Camille.
Yes, sir. I'm just, one thing I'd just like to say is I want to thank the staff and city manager, treasurer, and all the staff for doing an excellent job. I seeing the numbers, seeing the emails. I know it's good times right now because oil and gas are doing well, but documentation is very important and follow-up is very important. And just like just mentioned with the fire department, getting our funds back from any type of grants we get, that's very important. So I just want to say, I really appreciate it. Just makes me feel good, makes me feel comfortable and not under real stress. But one thing I want to also mention is that I know city manager, Mr. Miranda's 6 months, I think it's already arrived here, and it is in his contract for review. So I'd like to see that on our next agenda. I guess it just needs to be discussed, not just so we discuss it and.
I think we can make it a fact.
And,
I don't think we need
yeah,
to discuss.
okay, so we can just do that on next meeting action item, so we can get that out of the way and see if Scotty's gonna give him $5 or something. And then, other than that, the only thing I would like to see before budget, I know budget is already kind of in effect, treasurer, is our list of liabilities and their payoff. So I'd like to see where we stand. Hopefully we found everything, so I talked to the manager the other day about some things. Every time I come across something, I'll shoot him a text and say, hey, are they paying? Are they paying? So the other day, I did shoot him a text that, yeah, somebody that is paying needs to hand up. So it was good that I sent that every time. I think all of us commissioners, or Scotty especially, some of this stuff we passed in the past with people that owe the city money to make sure they're paying us. And so, but I was glad to hear that you guys were on board and already had a contract with the other, so I was glad to hear that. But I'd like to see that way, at least. Review it as well to ensure that everybody that we're supposed to collect from, we are collecting. So, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. We've done our job. Come on in and sit down. We appreciate you at short notice.
No problem.
Accommodating. Commissioner White.
I like to thank Judge Clayton for running down here for us. And thank everyone else for
Did we get him the documentation?
coming.
Okay, we even have that. Commissioner Gandy.
We're back up to speed meeting. No.
Ms. Cooper.
I apologize for my tardiness.
Well, you were here.
There's a book for each of you.
Okay.
Here she is. Yeah, so my staff, I just have to say, many kudos to my staff for really working really hard. We've been working on trying to finally get a hold of what our true actual budget that was submitted so that we could create this adjustment. So a lot of work on it. I appreciate them all. Thank you very much. And we're gonna start working on the next year's budget. We're gonna start with meetings with the department heads. And so the first meeting is gonna be all about what does each line item need and what do we put in. So it's, just a refresher course on all of us can probably learn a little bit about what is in our line items. So we're gonna start there and then give them an opportunity to take that information back and we'll do individually to each department head to start working on next year's budget. Any questions for me?
I have one question, and now that we have submitted our documentation correctly and all, have they released us back to being our own physical agent?
No, when you looked at that, what was, do you remember, Christine? We have to
Complete another 6 months after that report was.
Yeah, I think it's September is what we're.
Yeah. I think we're still, eventually, we're on the right track, but.
Right,
not
and that was the reason I was asking, I didn't know what the.
Yeah, and I think our audit, we did get, lots of, well, not lots of, it was mainly on the auditors and change up some schedules and do some things like that. So,
The state, the OSA has not officially released our audit, so we're not allowed to release it to the public, and Dion is not allowed to present to us publicly yet. However, I think she took care of everything with Ed today, because we just got it Saturday or Friday. And so that should be probably the next commission. So the audit's fine, it's just not, the state hasn't officially signed off on it.
so I assume we'll have masters on it.
Well, thank you.
And we will be going out for RFP for an auditor here in the next 2 weeks.
And about the door, and then we'll, if anyone has people you want to make sure we send it to also, so we'll make sure we get that those terms.
Any other questions?
Not too many left out there.
City manager.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, members of the public, I'd like to bring to your attention the Lovington City Manager report that I placed before you. I've been meaning to do this for a while, and Commissioner Gandy kind of nudged me a little bit and said, it'd be nice, I rattle off a lot of numbers and statistics, and it'd be kind of nice to have a snapshot before you, that you guys can reference. It starts off with our bank balance, kind of like where we're standing financially. I can report that the January GRT number came in at 1.09 million, which is the second lowest in history and 200,000 higher than the same period last year. This will also show you the latest LEDA balance. I know Commissioner Bolt is always concerned about the Lee County Youth Sports and Recreation Fund balance. To Commissioner Trujillo's point, we will have a list of our total obligations in future reports, so we can know, you can know the city's total exposure. I know in particular, the mayor is always interested in seeing our utilities numbers, what Navajo's using, what Navajo's being billed. To Commissioner Gandy's request, there is a monthly number there of how much the city's using as a whole in terms of water. So in the period from February 29th through March 20th, the city consumed 70,200,000 gallons of water. We consume as a city about 1 billion gallons a year, and we're pretty confident in that number. We've had the meter at the 24-inch main checked out. Then you go down into your utilities billing. I do have some charts later, and then it breaks it out into departments: fire and EMS, senior citizen center, police department, code enforcement. If you look at code enforcement, Ms. Laura issued 159 warning citations last month, and a lot of them were for inoperable junk vehicles, RVs, and trucks illegally parked. If you notice, there's only 9 citations issued, and that's because we're kind of going easy on the citations right now until the judge gets trained, and then we're going to start, sending him more business. 2 statistics or charts that I can share with the public as well. So Mr. Gandy asked to look at GRT data. If you look at this chart, forgive me, the months, this goes back 10 years. So the first month is January of 2014. And this kind of shows you throughout the years how our GRTs have done. And this is GRTs after you've stripped out the direct intercepts and the LEDA funds that come out. This is what actually goes into our bank account from the state. And as you can see here, month 83, that's at the very worst of COVID. That was in October of 2020, and that's when we were really in bad shape. But also, and of course they fluctuate, right? And then there's a chart that kind of isolates it more and that follows. But one thing you'll notice in the last 18 months is that we kind of have found a floor around the $800,000 level per month. We'll get down to 825 or 850, and then we'll have a good month, 950 or over $1 million. Obviously, that's not a guarantee of future results, but I just found it interesting that kind of the new norm, I hate to say it, is, kind of this threshold here of 800,000 as a bottom. And I know that can all change. But anyway, that's 10 years worth of GRT data. And if you look at the next chart, what's kind of more interesting is, let's look at the same period going back 10 years. So let's take every January data for those years. And you can also see the trend line going up. Again, 2021, that's kind of a lag from COVID. But if you've seen January of 22, 23, and 24, kind of the trend goes up. So we'll be doing that every month for you. I think, they can't predict the future necessarily, but it's good to know where you're coming from. Yeah, no, we'll do it once a month.
Is there a formula where you could get that number and based off inflation, compared to inflation we had the year before? Because you bump up inflation and you can see how cost of goods have doubled, so they're paying extra taxes now instead of true.
We can run it.
Maybe I don't know the formula, but I wonder if there's a formula where it really dropped back down to about 600 and full reality, and that is
If you
just
factored in inflation.
if you factored in inflation. So
Yeah.
we still may be at the 600 range, but it's the factor inflation cost of goods have gone up, so we're receiving more GRT, so that could be why the big numbers.
What we're getting in, the extra we're getting in, we're paying right back out.
Yeah, exactly. But it's good. That's where we're at.
No, that's a very good point, and I agree with you 100%. What I don't have on the slides here, but if you look at the next page, commissioners, you'll see our city water usage back in here. And as I mentioned earlier, we fluctuate anywhere between 60 million gallons in the wintertime to 120 gallons in the summer. And I've found something very interesting in this chart. If you look at that little drop in June of last year, I'm like, why did that drop in the middle of the summer like that? Then I remember, that's when we lost water and we started that conservation effort. And we asked everybody to voluntarily conserve water, and it did work. It had an effect, because after that, it went right back up. So, but anyway, that kind of shows you where, how much our consumption goes up in summertime. And then you have your utilities billing breakout, and that's going to show us more in the months going forward. And it's broken out by solid waste, sewer, and water. And then you have.
Before you move on, I have one question, and I'm sorry, but the beginning of your chart at 216.23,
It should.
why are we zero?
Yeah.
No data or?
Which one, sir?
On the consumption from the main. I think we probably should have started the next month. It wasn't a 0 day a month, right? So, but you basically bottom out around 60 million gallons a month in the winter. And as you can see, January was the low recently, and we're starting to kind of trend up now to 70 million. As I said earlier, 70 million a month. And then this summer, we'll be up to 120 million gallons a month. Navajo, which is not included in this figure, consumes an additional 12 to 15 million gallons a month, which is 150 million gallons a year. We don't factor it into this, but it does come from the same out. So, and then after that, I was looking for some EMS billing numbers, but as we're moving from Optum to a new vendor, this is from December, but I'll be giving that to you on a monthly basis as well, what we're billing in EMS. And then the final thing is something I sent you in an email Friday, you probably saw it, just some notes from a meeting we had with Pettigrew and Associates on Friday in terms of the water field study we're going to have them do using a state grant, kind of our plans. The mayor had asked about the feasibility of having a backup water line, because if something happens with our 24-inch main, then the city has no water. All our water comes through that main, except for private wells. So that'll be part of this study. So that's what you can expect on a monthly basis, but it's a work in progress. So if you want to see stuff, if it's too much data, more charts, less charts, you just tell me and we can tweak it. But that kind of gives you a snapshot of where the city is.
Never too much data. Your assessment, I really hadn't made this comparison, but when House Bill 6 in 2021 came along and they did their destination tax on the sale, right? I know Hobbs took a big hit because they have a whole lot of service and whatever related in the city. And whenever it was point source, then they lost the income they were used to. But the city of Lovington, not having as many service companies located within the city boundaries, actually, and I'm not here to just tell our governor that she did a good job on this, but the 18 months pretty much coincides with the implementation of that particular bill. So the majority of Lovington's growth, I believe, is because all construction and related items that are done inside the city limits, we now receive the tax that used to go to wherever that company was from. they were from Albuquerque and they came in and did work or were part of it, then Albuquerque got together. So it's, I'm not gonna say that it's the sole source of it, but I do believe it is contributing.
I agree, and I think it's all the more reason to keep up these economic development projects, whether it's the Albertsons or Maverick or anything else going in, all those construction jobs. And it keeps it going, and it's not a guarantee against the downturn or to offset that. I mean, the downturn hurts everybody, but people still have to buy groceries, so. And put gas in their car.
Do longer. And do longer. And do longer.
Easy.
Yeah.
Anything further, sir?
No, sir. That's,
Questions?
unless you have any questions.
Good job, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I just basically wanted to say, thank you all for your patience and understanding as I am still filling in for Crystal. A brief update on that. She is home, but we ask that you continue to pray for a quick recovery. So,
Thank you. We appreciate you filling in and helping her during this difficult time. Council.
Good afternoon. Don't have anything new based on our modified agenda. Probably won't have any comments either, but happy to stay for questions again.
All right. Well, moving on. Where'd you go? There you go. Are you going to say anything during public comment?
Yes.
Okay, are you gonna say anything about the proposal or that we're gonna be submitting?
Yes, Junior is.
Great, okay, well, if not, you're gonna do it right now during our time, and so I'm just gonna give you a little bit of time, but anyway, as long as you are, that's great. All right, with that being said, and that brings us to our public comment time. Swear. Oh, I don't, well, we talked about it, and I'm sorry.
You're going to swear in.
We're gonna swear in our new judge first, though. All right, first of all, thank you.
I don't.
And I would just like to say while he's making his way, we're doing our best to get to have your job secure for a while.
Well, congratulations first off, so if I could get, I was gonna say, I'll leave you my number. I don't know how much wisdom I can give you, but I'll help you with what I can. Other than, stick by your decision and they can fix it at a higher court if they don't like it. Had a wise judge told me that one time. Be the court of common sense, and if they don't like it, they can go to the district court and fix it, so. All right, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mark Randall Owens.
I, Mark Randall Owens,
Duly appointed municipal judge
duly appointed municipal judge
for the city of Lovington, New Mexico,
for the city of Lovington, New Mexico,
do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the ordinances of the city of Lovington, New Mexico,
the ordinance of the city of Lovington, New Mexico,
and will faithfully and impartially
will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of my office
discharge the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll get you my number here in just a minute.
Third dinner after this, Judge?
Is he paying? Done all your kids for so long because we ran around and caused trouble together. If they don't tell stories about me, I won't tell stories about them. That's right.
I would also like to welcome and thank all of your family that have come to see this. We appreciate you coming this evening and we look forward to moving forward for the next couple of years. Thank you. All right, move this to our public. We ask that you, if you have to say, step forward, state your name, tell us what you want to hear. Keep it short.
3 minutes. Junior Hernandez, Lovington, EDC. Evelyn O'Gean, Lovington, EDC. So the public good evening, commissioners, mayor, city manager, department heads. I guess probably in the last couple of weeks, there's been some buzz about a housing incentive that the county's pushing. In the past, the city and the EDC participated in a similar idea that's being tossed around. There's nothing set in stone, and from what we're gathering, things are changing daily, or maybe the approach. But at our last EDC meeting, which was just this past Thursday, we passed a measure that we would propose funding $400,000. It would be a matching grant from the EDC to the city for city infrastructure associated with any incentives that the county gives for construction or developers. So we're not 100% sure of the situation the county's pushing, but we wanted to take a proactive approach and ear tag and pledge the 400,000. Again, that would be a proposal that would only be, it would go through our city manager, and then it would definitely need approval from the commission. The ear tag that I'm talking about would that money would only be used for emergency siren systems, fire hydrants, lift stations, water well infrastructure, sewer plant infrastructure. We have to cap it at about 400,000 because that's about the only thing we can budget for. I hope that we take the opportunity to get as much money as we can from the county. But you know, the proposal that we've been working on that I think we're going to end up scratching just because maybe some numbers or some information that's gone on in the past couple of days has changed. But for example, we were, you know, this is not the number that we were looking, but just using whole numbers, hypothetically, if we asked for $5 million for housing, okay, we were going to limit our exposure and our guarantee from the LEDA fund on what we would be able to fund the city. So in the past, when this was done, there was a lot of infrastructure that was overlooked. Developers come into town and built 264 homes, and that's a pretty accurate number, 264 homes, and we were able to increase population, which then increased GRTs, which increased a whole lot of well-being for Lovington. But what was forgotten about that was a lot of city infrastructure. And so we put in subdivisions that we realized at a later date we had forgotten about: emergency siren systems, upgrading lift stations, looking at usage more of the water field. So we're taking a different approach this time. We're going to take the approach with the lead of the city manager. Anything that he wants us to filter through applications, we took care of that last time. We're just here to help in whatever form or way we can. We don't mind writing the proposal, working with you guys on writing the proposal. But again, our proactive approach this time is set aside that money and know that it's going to be used for upgrades, and that way it's not a burden on this city, because from what I've heard at the county commission meeting, one of the commissioners, and Robbie and Evelyn were present, I was not, but maybe they can elaborate on this, but one of the commissioners said, you know, if I give $10 million to a municipality, are you gonna come back to me in next year and say, we've grown our city, we've grown our utilities, and now are you gonna ask for $10 million to upgrade a sewer plant or to upgrade a water field facility, whatever it might be that comes with the growth. So the only thing that we can do is just take a proactive approach and let you guys know that we have a plan. If you want to hear the plan at a later date, once we figure out which direction we're headed, then we come up here and present it to you guys.
And just to add to that, we will be submitting a proposal. They are due April the 5th. So the EDC will submit something soon, but I do want to give, thank you to Gabriel. Gabriel has actually been helping me with city maps. We plan to include maybe some city lots that are being underutilized, just to cut the cost of new roads, because that would kind of take up the majority of the money. So we are looking at pieces of lands that are around the city that we could have more than 4 homes. Because it is going to be a requirement. We do want you to have more than 4 homes, not your individual house builders. So that's something that we are looking at. But, thank you to Gabriel. He has been very helpful in providing maps for me so we can provide sites.
And yeah, just whatever we need to do, city manager, just mayor. You guys let us know if you need us to be involved, or at what point you need us involved, or whatever. She can pull the RFP from the last time. I think she has already.
Yes, and he has a copy of that, and it's just a sample RFP that we did back in 2013, and we just updated the dates and updated the amounts and due dates, and we do plan on having it for a 3-year period versus a 2-year period that we did back in 2013.
Is the target still 160 homes?
No, I think it will increase.
I think so. To give numbers on targeting homes, we're gonna need to know commitments from the city, commitments from the county. That's gonna be really important. So they're having a, tell me what it is again,
A
housing summit in Hobbs.
April 25th.
April 25th. And so we'll attend. We'll try to draw in developers. The last time we had developers here, there was a big developer that come in from California, another one that came from Arizona. I'm not sure. Mary, you can chime in on where the other ones come from. There was local developers. And so at that housing summit we were invited. It's going to be put on by the city of Hobbs. We're going to try to get overflow from the developers that they're moving fast. Most all communities in the county, I think it's natural for when somebody wants to give money, we get on board and we can formulate a plan and ask. And so they're moving quick. And so I know that Jow reached out to Evelyn and asked for a sample of the RFP. There's majority of all communities in Lee County are going to need to ask for money, or again, I don't know how they're going to dish it out, if it's going to be by population or by, I have no idea.
The need, I'm assuming it's the need. Lovington back in 2015 needed 500 plus homes. And with the 2013, even when we did the 270 homes, we're still at 500 plus homes that were behind schedule. And with the growth that's going on, we're just more and more behind. So we're just trying to not catch up, because it's going to be really tough to catch up, just to add to it.
Yeah, so if they did, so the last time our strategic planning was done is when they said we were 500 homes, in need of 500 homes. I think that was 2015, 2016. So the 240 homes that we talked about the other day was just basically an example of what we feel is needed if nothing's changed.
Conservative number.
So if it was 160 homes, or, 240, obviously, the dollars are gonna be watered down at some point on what we'd be able to give developers. But again, the city took lead on this last time. We were there for assistance, and we're ready and willing to do what we need to move forward.
You mentioned, I'm sorry, do you have a question before I?
No, I just got a comment. 240 to 260 homes, it keeps us at the 500 behind, unfortunately. I mean, if you figure that Lovington graduates around 400 students a year, and if we take an average that 50% of them stay in the area based on jobs and opportunities that are here, I mean, and you figure a 5-year period for their young adults is in the area where they're trying to start a family and different things like that. So that's 200 homes per every 5 years that we're falling further behind if they don't move to Hobbs or something like developing. So we're losing out on this curve.
I agree, and, we spitballed ideas for an hour and a half on Thursday. Nothing stuck to the wall, obviously, because we don't know what the level of commitment is or where we're at on what we're gonna ask for, what we're gonna submit for. And I think it's a start. I mean, I agree with you 100%. Something we talked about was affordable housing. Lower, I didn't use that word, starting homes. Yeah. So starter homes 15 years ago were 100,000, now starter homes may be 200,000. I don't have a clue. Or 3. So I think we need to look at our population, our
Areas too, the areas that we are looking at as well.
there's, yeah, so every area that she's identified has different covenants. Some may have minimum square footage, some may have maximum, some may have, they're gonna be different. Every one of them will be different. So there's some that we have listed that we have identified, city property that's over by the fairgrounds. We identified a lot of city property that's sat vacant. Maybe this is a time that we fund some of it by moving some of the land. I don't know. Again, we're ready and willing to.
And the proposal is indeed just to let them know that we do want to move forward. We want to.
But we're not submitting the proposal that we have. So there's going to be a proposal. We're going to need to come up with a proposal from tomorrow to April 5th.
We have a week.
Yep. I guess unless they moved timelines.
No, today.
So we need to move fast. Everyone will be on vacation Thursday, but she's available on Friday. Through Friday.
It doesn't matter what time it is.
Friday.
It's work Friday, excuse me, that's work Friday, right?
I'm giving her time. She's usually off on Fridays, but again, I think it's very important that we don't leave anything on the table. So whatever it is, all hands on deck, we're ready.
Any questions for us? Concerns?
I'm just gonna add a little information. I know, it's always difficult to sit there and think about everything you'd like to say. But, this, first of all, had firsthand knowledge. Not only was I the EDC president during this time, but also one of the contractors and several other things that were related. And upon a request from the county commission, I gave her basically a talk on this. From 2013 to 2015, in this time that we completed these 264 homes, there was actually more homes that were built during that time that we assisted with that. At that time, the city, through the EDC, contributed $450,000 to this accomplishment, to which the county matched an additional $450,000. So that was this city's and within the city limits, contribution at that time, and we succeeded with 264. Anytime you start something like this, no one knows when that last house is gonna be the one that fills the need. Countywide, citywide, or whatever. So our projections can only be based on what we kind of historically know now and what was provided to us back then. So a lot's changed. As Junior pointed out, the cost of affordable housing is no longer where it was. So I use this for just basically quick reference. A minimum, I'm going to say an absolute minimum of a starter home, a new starter home in the 1,500 range is going to be 225,000. That's just about where it starts. Okay, the only thing, and up that, everything but the land is charged yours. So let's just say you paid a $25,000 lot. We got $200,000. That was the sales price of the house. Of that, we pay out 7%. And of that 7%, we get 3.1 cents out of every 7. Well, that brings in about $6,200 GRT to the city from the sale of that house. Now, I'm bringing this back because this follows what I said earlier. In 2013 to 15, yes, we had a minimum of 3 local contributors. 4. Was it 4? And I think everybody was involved. And then we had Ryan Goldie's, which is, what was the name of the company?
Gold Creek,
Gold Creek. And also then there was the one from Las Cruces.
Geo Green.
Thank you. All these names have escaped me over the years, but anyway, the GRT that those companies collected during the time went to where they were off. Whether it was, now they had to have Las Cruces for Geo Green, and I don't know where Ryan, in order, you would have to have a New Mexico base. I don't know where it was. Well, wherever it was, that's where this GRT went. Well, now with this point of sale, the city will receive, and I did it, $6,200 on $200,000 is what the city will receive. So whatever our incentive is, we know the city will at least receive that on any house, or pretty much as an average any house. So whatever we can come up with a project partnership agreement, then anything below that the city can come up with will be beneficial, and the city still, in addition to in perpetuity selling them water, sewer, trash services, and all of those things. So,
Mayor, just real quick, so the 450,000 that was contributed last round, those are funds that did not come out of the LEDA fund, right?
No, they did.
No, they did.
They
They
did.
came out of the.
Another question. At any point, so the reason it was really important last time was we had new homes being proposed that were coming in under appraised. Is that accurate? So we basically give $6,800 per site to get the cost of that home back to appraised value at least, so it was easier for people to come in. Because I mean, it's been a long time ago, and I just.
Not you, I'm sorry.
I just feel like, I remember the conversations coming about that they were building new homes at the beginning, and John Doe would show up to buy it. He was having to come up with $6,000, $7,000 extra over appraised value. and plus the down payment, and plus, so we identified that we hadn't had homes built here in a very long time, so it was hard to use past numbers. I don't know that we're gonna get into that same situation. I think that that's something that we have to look at. Another thing is that I was talking about affordable housing is the spitballing that we did was we have chief have hard time recruiting people. Public department heads have hard time recruiting people to move here, to live here. And so something that needs to be looked at is, that's why I go back to, I mean, maybe it's not the proper word, affordable housing, starter homes, where a new officer doesn't necessarily have to rent an apartment that we don't have. You know, our apartments are full. We need to look at the whole scope, our demographics of what average income is here. We have to look at a lot of things, not just focus on, you know, because I think regardless whether you, Robbie, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're building a $150,000 home or a $300,000 home on a lot on Avenue P, that developer's cost is going to be the same to get the utilities there, right? So it's not going to be either or in the benefit to the developer or against the developer. It's going to be per side.
I think it's a good conversation. I think you guys just need to get up that you guys are talking about, bringing back to the table for us to agree on what direction. Because we can talk about it all night. I totally agree with what you're saying, but just get the data, collect the data, and just bring it to the table.
What data?
The data you're referring to, what do we plan on giving out? We plan on.
You do understand we have no control of that.
Well, you must have some sort of control if you go and issue out funding for development.
That's for the city. That has nothing to do with housing.
That one, when you apply that to that developer, you're going to be approved. That's the way we did it last time.
Yeah, but that's not what we're proposing this time. We're proposing that money being
That's what I'm saying. You need to bring this back to the table. See what. That's what I'd like to see.
Well,
I just don't want, because you're talking about yesterday, and they're talking about today, and I just want to know where we stand on everything, you know? I'd rather just see it on the document instead of discussion. That's what I'm saying.
No, we'll bring something to you when we get time for it to be approved by you. It's gonna have a breakdown of exactly, and what he's proposing is the 400,000 is only for infrastructure for the city. That's the only thing we're talking about.
And I agree with that. That's what see how it's
Isn't the number you're gonna recommend based upon what the county's gonna give the city?
We have no idea. We're not involved in
Waiting
the
to see what the county's gonna pitch in.
Yeah, I mean, so from what, again, the mayor and Evelyn were at the meeting, but I don't think there was any specific number given that I think this is a spitballed idea that rolled. I mean, it's growing every day. We just don't want to not submit something and then wish we did.
So,
but our level of commitment is 400,000. Okay, so the mayor's talking about a level of commitment that's outside the LEDA. We're, GRT's growing for construction. That's 100% of the city's money. That isn't the LEDA, it doesn't go to the LEDA. We get 16 cents of every dollar to the LEDA. He's talking about 3.25 cents for every 7 cents. So like our commitments there, we presented it to you guys. It's going to take your approval, but we don't have any control of what's going to be given by the county or by the city if the city gives anything.
And right now, your proposal is for city infrastructure only. And in this proposal, first of all, we have no idea what the county is going to come with
Nobody
as far as a resolution. What they want to know is what we see a need for and what we foresee us being or not.
Okay, so numbers that we worked with the other day, Commissioner Gandy, how many homes do you think we need to target for the next 3 years? I mean, I'm not putting you on the spot. I know what our round number is
So to meet the need we need now, or just to have something
for 3 years.
for 3 years?
So it's a 3-year plan.
If it was even possible to do, I figured 250 homes a year.
Okay, so that's 750
Yeah.
at 10,000 per incentive for contractors. So the city or the county and or the city would have to incur about $7.5 million.
Right.
So that's the level of money we'd be asking for. Like, we know what it's gonna cost per unit, but we have no idea how many units we're gonna try to recruit.
Right.
Or try to incentivize.
I mean, to build 250 homes a year, I don't know if you could get enough crews in here and the homes and the properties and everything else, and the infrastructure. I mean, that's a big number. I mean, if we built 750 in 5 years.
Yeah, so
it'd be amazing.
that'd be 100 a year, so we're looking at 300 that we need to, between the city and the county, we need to have 300,000.
So,
I mean, 3 million.
quick question. When you said your proposal to the county has to be in by April 5th, our next meeting is April 8th. Do you want an action item on the next agenda?
No.
No.
I'm gonna answer that because the county is going to have 11th, I believe is their date, and they're going, this is a discussion on what the county really wants to know is what we as a city, and I gave this, Evelyn, I was gonna talk to her and we were gonna get it worked out, but she took it and her and Junior came up with it. So they want to know effectively what do we foresee needing as far as housing. That's what came up. And then they went above and beyond and said, okay, we did this in 2013. So now let's not make the same mistakes that we made back then because of the need. We accomplished the need, or we accomplished a portion of the need. But we didn't recognize the impact on the city. So they want to make sure that the city infrastructure is also included in anything that we do so that it's a total package. It's going to be a partnership between the county and the municipality. And the county is going to be heading this up. And so what they're asking is, what do we think we're going to need? They're not asking for anything that's ready to be signed or whatever. And they hope to have maybe a resolution of what they're going to contribute to the cities by the end of April. That's their goal.
So we could do a 5-year plan and do 300 homes over 5 years. And then, so we can do 3 million. Okay, we'll put in a proposal to ask the county for 3 million. Any time within those 5 years, the city of Lovington, funded outside of the LIDA, could come in and say, this has gone great for us the last 2.5 years. We're seeing the change. And then we can do a sub-program to this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
In addition.
I just wanted to chime in with the issue of the property. Like Evelyn said, I've been helping her a little bit with giving her maps of locations. And one of the concerns that I see right off the bat is that we're talking about the number of homes, but where is the property to be able to place these homes? So before we even move any further as far as the amount of money we needed, whether we even have to build these homes, first of all. And the second is I would ask the participation and the willingness of the community as well, because there are properties that could possibly be locations to be able to build and develop. There's just been hesitance from the community already. And that would be two of the main things that we would really need to address. And once we address and find a solution to that, it would be a huge factor in being able to smooth selling after that, or at least a little bit smooth. But yeah, the issue of the properties is quite concerning.
Yeah, and I think to add to that is to find locations for the new development outside of the city limits and to inquire that into the city to annex it, because inside the current city limits, there's no 200 feet.
Right.
Spot. And but it varies. It varies from commercial to residential. There's not, I guarantee there's not.
We have
I guarantee you there is.
We have a business already.
There's enough inside.
We've already done this.
For the residential.
Yes.
Again, that's taking into account vacant city property. That there's
Another
nothing being
available
done.
property as
Yeah,
well.
another
And
privately owned.
there is infrastructure and everything, in place. Water, sewer.
Correct. It's
Oh,
all in
Oh,
place.
there's gonna be upgrades.
There are gonna be upgrades that we're gonna need to do, but there is a bit.
But yeah, what I was referring to as well is that outside the city limits, I mean, to something, Evan, you could look into is what section or what something we could annex into the city. Because I feel like, I mean, 250 homes is nice, but
The problem is with annexation,
which
of adjoining of new property, that's where a lot of this, so we've identified properties that already have streets. We've identified properties that possibly already have water, sewer to an extent, but you take in county property, let's just say we take the corner of Gun and 17, okay, the 200 acres that's there in the corner, and we have to start, if we don't, as a city or the EDC, we don't have the strength to say we're gonna go develop that, or we're gonna pay for the development, because our $3 million would get us a city block. You know, it has to be on the developer. The developers that come in before to Cottonwood and Dogwood, correct me if I'm wrong, but they built the streets.
Yeah.
And when they got the streets put in, and they got the curb and gutters put in, and they got the utilities put in, and they built that home, they realized they were $6,000 over what the homes were appraising for. So that's where the first round of this program come in. Yeah, we don't want to be in the business of funding the developers' full project.
I would just think, I wonder if what would be more cost effective, a new location or spot housing, you got two, I'm gonna build two over here, three over here, two over here. Sometimes you don't know if that's gonna be cost effective for him to even come in and do.
Well, the problem is about doing what you're proposing, Commissioner, is then you say, I got a site, I'm gonna build 100 homes. You're gonna make sure them 100 homes are all $350,000 homes or $500,000 homes. By spot building, you're able to build homes to existing areas. Well, you're not gonna get an appraisal for 200,000 by the fairgrounds and you may be able to get 300,000 on M&N. So it's checkerboarded around town to be able to create opportunities for everybody. We don't want to be in the business of building nothing but $350,000 homes, which to that point is everybody will upgrade and then lower end homes will be put on the market. But at the end of the day, we want to look at everything. And I know it's not a whole lot of time. When we got it in our lap 2 weeks ago and we're moving with it, there's only a certain.
Junior, I'm just throwing questions at you,
Yeah.
something to think about, because you're just gonna throw out a proposal, you're just gonna throw out a number and then you can come back and put all the puzzles together.
We have a pretty good idea on what it's going to cost per lot to incentivize. And that's the only thing. We get a.
Wait, there's a lot of in the air right now. we've spent a lot of time, and I know Commissioner Gandy is ready for this.
How about you want to go eat?
Well, I do, but, anyway, first of all, the EDC is, your purpose is to, help the community. And this was in your ball court, and I think that you are to be commended for getting this together. And, the county will take all of this and they will recapitulate it to some degree, or they will decide not to do anything. So the main thing is for this commission is keep us involved. That's the reason I wanted something said tonight. It's progressed in the 2 weeks. We knew it's fixing to come up, and I wanted at least the commission to be aware that this is in the works. So thank you. I didn't mean for it to be such an ordeal, and I appreciate the work along with the city staff in coming up and taking the time to identify where growth could be. And so with that, unless there's anything further, just we'll move on and we'll see what happens from the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
We sure, sleep 30 seconds or less.
No, we're gonna see it. Anyone else?
1, 2, 3.
Okay, we're moving on. Bringing us to our non-action item. Since we altered the agenda, I guess, the only thing I threw on there is after our last meeting, when we appointed Judge Owen, the other two alternates that we also gave the appointment to walked up and said they were not interested in being the alternate judges. So I think we need to reach out and find out, ask people that might be interested so that we can get them appointed. That's the sum total, and do we want to go ahead and instruct Shannon to advertise and get a list of names and propose it to us in our next couple weeks? All right, hearing no further discussion, I'll move this to our action item.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-023 approval of the updated ADA transition plan.
Second.
Okay, motion second to consider this resolution.
Yep. Staff has updated the ADA transition plan and has presented this to the city commission for additional information or feedback. This plan is due to the states in April. The plan not only covers non-discrimination of employment, but also the city's plan to construct and improve ADA compliance through the city's facilities, streets, sidewalks, and parks. Any questions?
Okay, hearing no discussion. Shannon, roll call, please.
Commissioner White? Yes. Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes. Make a motion for resolution 2024-024, approval of lodger's tax request for fiscal year 24, fourth quarter.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for consideration of this resolution. Oh, Mr. Price.
This is our largest request because everyone does for the summer. So we had a pretty big request this year.
Okay.
We're limited on.
$13,000.
Yeah, for the chamber.
Yeah,
12,900 for the EDC.
And
Chamber open at 71.45. Chamber at 13.50. Road at 73.25.
Okay, and you ascertain that we have the ability to fund it. Y'all all approved it.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? All right. Sounds like we'll keep moving forward. Great job.
Yes.
Okay, Shannon.
Mayor Roberts,
No, I'm sorry, Shannon, there was a time we used to do 100 something. Yeah.
So I told you, wow.
It definitely is what? Yes, right. I'm sorry, Shannon. Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-025, approval airport hangar bid.
Was there a second?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
second that. Yeah.
Yeah, motion and second.
I was already gonna say something.
For consideration of this, resolution. All right.
The only thing I had was I had a complaint the other day about. Went out there and started all ripped up this wind and coming to hazard, so I either, if we don't accept bid tonight, I think we probably need to get somebody out there tear down.
Well, a couple of more wins like we had yesterday and
We ought to be gone.
Yeah, maybe just an empty spot.
So, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, the city of Lovington has no use for this structure as it owns no airplanes. And actually, federal regulations require this space to be used to store airplanes. Nor can this hangar benefit the community in any way, and we've tried to dispose of the structure for some years. We tried to donate it to the county about 4 years ago, and that didn't work. If anything, the structure is even more damaged. We did advertise for its sale. Through our, we received 2 bids. This structure has been appraised twice. The most recent appraisal value was $10,000. We received the highest bid of $9,533.00 from Mark and Ruby Owens. If this were to pass, this is almost the appraised value. We would advise the state auditor and the Council of Governments, and I believe we should dispose of this property.
I agree, because it's coming in hazard. If we can.
Correct.
Any other discussion? Then roll call, vote, please.
Wait, did we decide who we're giving it to? Or we just going down?
Oh, that's right, your motion did not make it in. Sorry about that.
So, this is the way I'm looking at it. So, I'd like to restate my, resolution 2024-025 approval airfare hangar bid based on highest bid to Mark and Ruby Owens at $9,530.
Second.
Okay, and the motion and second on this amendment. Any further discussion? Last chance, Judge.
Take it out of your chest.
Okay, Shannon, roll call vote.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-026 approval of RFP for EMS billing services.
We have a motion second.
Yes.
It's maintenance.
Okay.
That's all I have.
That's all you have? Okay. So, as I stated earlier, we had 2 companies who replied to the RFP. One was QMC and the other was EMSMC. So the review board graded the companies on 7 different criteria that equals 100. So it was history and experience, possibility 30, capability and capacity 20 points, past record of performance 20 points, availability to provide information and reports electronically to client 10, quality assurance 5, history of investigations 5, and then means of collections 10, which comes up to 100. So there were 3 members on the review board for a possibility of 300 points total. So each RFP was graded using the format that I just discussed. And EMS MC had a total of 295 out of the possible 300 points. QMC received a total of 224 out of the possible 300. So at this time, the board recommends to the commission that we go with EMS MC for our new billing company.
Mayor, Mayor, may I make a motion for resolution? Didn't see anything in the veto. Resolution 2024-026, approve RFP for EMS billing services. Yeah, to be awarded to EMS/MC.
Second.
Okay, motion second. The amended resolution. Any further discussion? Shannon, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner White. Yes. Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Mayor, make a motion for resolution 2024-028, approve third quarter budget adjustment for fiscal year 248. Did I say 248?
But do we need to adjust that?
Fiscal year 24. Okay.
Ignore it. All right. All right.
Did we get a second?
Wait.
Did we get a second?
No, hang on, sorry. I'm waiting. Wasn't, but I am waiting. Okay, we have a motion and a second to consider this resolution. All right. You are on that.
Anybody else? All right, so our first two pages of this are the budget request. It shows by DFA categories, the totals for the original 23-24 DFA budget, and the 27-625. Doing projections and looking at adjustments that we made based on additional or revenues not received. We are proposing an adjustment to total revenues of $2,126,105 to up revenues to $29,751,125. And then with our expenses side, we're original DFA budget is $23,013,915. We're projecting nice inflation numbers of costs. Also, a lot of these costs are related to grants. So it's grant money that we've gotten in that help on the revenue side, but we've got to spend it on the expense side. So quite a bit of that is related to those types of revenues coming in.
It's gonna end up being $2 million. That's how many grants we got in the last fiscal year that we've exercised. So.
Yeah, and we keep getting, junior bills and different things. So it's great for our departments to go out and, get those things in money. So an adjustment of $3,778,217 to expenses for a total of $26,789,582. This is with a surplus of $2,261,583. Our reserve amount that we have to have will go up as well. But I'll figure that number. It doesn't change the budget, it's just when we ultimately do the cash delivery to pay. Change the reserve amount, go up a little bit.
22%, right?
23%.
Of our budget.
Okay.
Does he lose what's on 12, the state requires on 12, the ordinance says 23. Okay, stick with one reading. Yeah, so that during the crunch, we went down to try to make it work. And so.
Yeah, we're fine.
We're building back up.
Everybody started the movie.
Ooh, what? A movie? Is there a bike ride now?
The items from the first 2 pages are just like one. We're gonna go through the expenses.
It's past there. Mary, girl, I made some, I don't know. But I just wanted. Mary.
Timmy's hitting him with his cane on this. Okay, I have a question while we're, okay, in the third column, this surplus, basically negative, that is just the difference in the first, okay.
Yes, yeah, that's the difference. That's basically the adjustment too,
Right.
the total adjustment after.
I agree, yeah.
Also, other expenses more.
Right, okay. Because the way it read is, like you read the other 2 lines, it was that our surplus went negative, and it really did.
No, it's just.
It actually went up.
We're still in the plus.
Oh, it is.
So I have probably a stupid question. How do we budget for anticipated capital outlay grants? In other words, we're going for 1.7 million this year. We don't know if we're gonna get it, but we have to have our budget done by end of June. Do we build that in there and so we're gonna get it?
You build in when you do adjustments at the end. Yeah, so you build in, a percentage of it, knowing you're not probably gonna get everything, but.
Best practice is really, because you've got to have that revenue to buy. Plus that.
Just because it just matches the expenses you're gonna be spending on right now. So, I think the biggest things to note are GR2s are higher, so that's great. They've been trending higher. I think they were based on 850,000 a month. Roughly 850,000 a month.
Our trailing 12-month average is 925.
So, budgeted a little conservatively. We need to move law enforcement recruitment. The money was budgeted in year 1, we need to move it down to year 2. So that's just an adjustment to move it in between funds. And then Chief Clark has gotten quite a bit of money that, if you'll note, we're gonna get $225,000 for recruitment. It is only for new officers. We're not gonna be able to spend that by June. He's hiring as much as he can, and we're gonna try to spend as much out as we can. What happens is either, I don't think this is totally just a recruitment one. There's another one that's also.
It pays the salaries for this one fiscal year. It pays the salaries of whatever officers we hire. Then next year, start over again. So we'll get 112,000 next year. Hopefully we can spend that, I think $250,000 in hiring new officers. So I'd love to be able to spend that, but it's tough to attract enough people. So.
And we still do the 112,500 for recruitment, or for, it's being, used towards raises. We moved, another thing that was moved is, we did notice, the money that comes in from Lee County Electric for the youth sports fund was in one fund, and the expenses were in another. So they, money that was coming in, so, they've been moved into the same fund, it's all in recreation now, so that was a big adjustment that you would see in the recreation fund for that. Utility billing is trending higher, so there was some utility billing in there as well. And ambulance was trending higher, so thanks that you finally got a billing company, because I know you have a lot that needs to be built out there. There were some things like quarterly stipends for the museum were figured into their budget, but so we included those. our community sandwich, which they call them community sandwich, but it's been built in the trainer, so there was nothing built in for repairs and maintenance and utilities, so we still have the building, we still need to maintain them, and so those are built in now. And then
And don't forget, I mean, I know you all remember, but our cash position was increased substantially by the 5.7 million we got from Lee County over the summer. But it's because of that gift and also increasing GRTs, we were able to send $2 million out the door in October and November for our capital outlay grants up front. I mean, we've gotten it back, but we've used that as a cushion. We've spent the money, but we've replenished it. So that's why we still have a healthy cash position. And on the next report, I will give you, what I want to give you is not only the bank balance, but how much of that is encumbered, all in, RETA, bonds, everything else, the fire station, you know, so we really know, you know, okay, we've got the reserve, we've got the sweep, and then this is encumbered. So you have a true idea of what the cash position of the city is.
Also, whenever I write a check out, you know, within, I always watch for it to come back, you know, for the cancel check, so that I can immediately send it to Dora and request those funds back from DFA. So I'm always on top of it, so I keep on top of it and make sure we're getting our funds back right away.
Since we put Christie in that position, our turnaround time on capital outlay, getting the money back is like 1 to 2 months maximum. And it used to be over 6 months.
we just needed someone to, it's a day right on it, it's an every day.
And her and Laura get along with
And she stays on DFA, it has been turned in and they haven't given us our money. She's checking every day, like, why don't we have our money? We should have our money, we got the money for the other one, I said on the same day, why not have this one? So she's also doing a fabulous job on that. So, any questions related to this budget adjustment? I was just happy to finally figure out what our budget is, because this Tyler doesn't even look like this at all. So, there's some numbers that are kind of close. This was really nice to finally figure out what our starting budget was, so we can come up with.
So this adjustment will be part of our third quarter DFA report, which is due at the end of next month.
And we're also making sure that everybody's spending all their money for their, nothing goes back.
Jonathan?
Nothing reversed.
Any questions? No, sir. Julie, first of all, I want to say thank you for this. Hopefully this will help us in our preparation that you're fixing to go into.
Yes, and so that's part of the, I don't mind just doing something, I'm like creating the systems that can help you do it better and faster the next time, so that's what took a little bit, was getting all the templates created and creating these where we can just start plugging in numbers, and somebody else doesn't have to come here and go, well, because nobody could tell me what other account tied to any DFA. Now we can do that. Now it's almost be today.
All right. Hearing no further discussion. Shannon, roll call.
Commissioner White? Yes. Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Commissioner
Second.
Motion second to consider the finance report and account payable. Take a few moments, take fewer moments. Okay. Is it on the back?
Emergency funds for 6.
6,180. That was emergency repairs, water line repairs for our booster tanks. We spent a weekend, that whole railroad section was flooded like a swamp. Yeah. People don't know why.
I go from HS and there we had to do, there was a formula that was wrong in the billing invoice that was sent in. We had to deliver building to 51,000, so we reimbursed them for the But,
Paid it, and
Yeah.
I hand delivered the check to Artesia following day after we discovered the error, so all is fine. And the good news is, even though we had to give that back, we still billed them for over 400,000 for their effluent water for the third quarter from the network plant. So
I mean,
since
average
we
billing,
installed that new meter,
it's, the average billing before October 2023 was basically 15,000.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
50,000 a
"Thank you,
year."
Big, huge, thank you card.
Yeah.
So, yes, thankfully we have the new meter, new systems in place. So,
In Mexico, finance for 43.
that is interest on.
Pretty low. Scott's not here.
You got it.
Yeah, here you go.
You've been jamming in last night.
Right. All right. Yeah, no problem.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Gandy,
Yes.
Mr. White. Yes. Mr. Trujillo.
With that, the items of the agenda are exhausted. We already adjourned. Thank you.
Commissioners, I need y'all to sign the resolution.
Yeah.
That's mine.
We're mad. What was our?
Average is 925.
No. I will get you.
All right, thank you.
I have. I'm handing this to you. I'll be right back.
I thought it'd be faster. There's a lot going on. I'm glad it's your my team.
It's a competition.
You have the money yet. You better make right decisions. You will a lot of those. Good. We should have. So that's just about it. It's hard because you would be able to talk to you transfer that to something so that's the actual auditor. So I would just get this stuff off and make sure that that way you can do it. Anytime it's out there, everybody, oh, rather than store them on your phone, because sometimes someone will read minutes and say, well, that's all. And it's nice to go back and say, let's see exactly what this is. So I think we just need to find use of it. And maybe a better way to do it is just get you a recording device. That way it's not on your phone. And then you can record it directly. You can take that shit and like plug it in your machine and just download it. It's just county related.
Well, Steve, we haven't recorded, this thing.
No, I think I did. Generally, I'll get you. I'm just like, if he starts whistling Dixie, you know you're touching close. You see, man.
I just think it looks real shady, the new judge got the airplane.
It wasn't the same meeting.
We're getting a new, IT grip.